r/Nosleep. Posted by u/AspenWard. I work as a paranormal specialist, these are some of my experiences. Part 3. Hello again Nosleep, I guess I should wish everyone a belated Happy New Year. I've been a bit preoccupied recently and completely forgot it was a holiday. I really do hope your new year is happy. Unfortunately this post isn't going to be as lighthearted as my last one, so buckle up. I said I'd tell the story of how Serene helped me find the name of a specific entity that has my mom's soul, so I'll start there. I'll try to keep this bit brief since I've been on the trail of something interesting since last night. Right, so this was back in early 2014 when I was called to help with an exorcism. The family this time were devout Catholic and had managed to find a priest who was willing to perform a blessing on their house to remove what they thought were demons. The priest, HL, and his assistant actually did try, but ended up not quite making it. Well, the priest's assistant didn't quite make it. There's a reason I have a habit of checking the house for hazards before I start working. Poor guy got thrown into a loose railing on the second floor, fell, and was impaled by one of the shards of wood. By that point the family wanted nothing to do with the house and listed it for sale. I can't really blame them, all things considered. It was actually the priest himself who contacted me. Apparently he's on a revenge mission. A bit unorthodox, but hey, who am I to judge? So we went and broke into this for sale house in order to confront these things. Serene came with us, but since she's pretty much invisible we didn't tell HL. Just to clarify, Serene doesn't trust many people, which is also why she didn't want to be introduced on here at first. I should also mention that she does have a physical form, so she can move stuff and has to be careful to be quiet if she wants to stay unnoticed. By now the house had been repaired but still wasn't exactly the best place to go confronting a demon, which is what I hoped to find. See, Serene and I had been working on a tag team effort to get more information about Onnelith. It's not like they tell me this stuff willingly. I ask leading questions, and she perceives the responses directly while I keep the demon busy. Unfortunately, they tended to catch on pretty quickly and hadn't told me anything useful yet. This time, I hoped HL would help with the distracting part, doing his Catholic exorcism routine. It was obvious that something noticed us as soon as we entered. A dark energy gathered around us and began to draw us upstairs. I'm not sure who decided that evil entities like basements, cause in my experience they much prefer throwing people downstairs or off landings. Anyway, all this energy starts gathering and stuff starts moving around on its own. Small objects mostly, picture frames, decorations, that kinda stuff. HL is alternately reading from his Bible and fending off flying glass. Serene and I ducked down behind the couch and sidled closer to the stairs. We all start edging up the stairs and I guess the demon decided we were too slow because it started pelting us from behind with pieces of picture frames. HL loses it a bit and just bolts past me up the stairs to start all but screaming Bible verses at the top. It sounds chaotic, but this was pretty much standard stuff, and the fact that HL was being as distracting as possible was exactly what I wanted. The entity finally coalesced itself into a solid form in front of HL. He'd been hollering at it to show itself for a while. It began taunting him about his dead friend and colleague. Just as HL looked like he was going to have a rage-induced aneurysm, I interrupted the two of them. "Tell me your name." It turned its attention toward me, temporarily forgetting or maybe just ignoring HL, and decided to start taunting me instead. "My name? What would a child like you want with my name? How about we talk about your name instead?" Okay, the whole child thing had gotten old years ago, but Serene had managed to catch it thinking the word Razum. It was probably only part of its name, but I decided to go with it. "No, I think we'll discuss yours, Razum. After all, it's so much more exotic," I replied. There was the briefest flicker of surprise before out of nowhere something grabbed me and pulled backwards. Before I could respond, I was hanging upside down, suspended in mid-air, above a nice drop from the top of the second floor ceiling to the ground on the first floor. Don't you just love open concept living rooms? As I was contemplating how Razum managed to do that without so much as a hand gesture, I heard laughter from below me. Shit, there were two of them. HL had run to the railing and was frantically trying to reach me. I hollered at him to get away from the thing, but of course he didn't listen. With a flick of the wrist and a smirk, Razum pushed HL through the railing. Lucky for HL, Serene had figured Razum would do this and moved below the railing to catch him. Meanwhile, I'm still upside down in the air watching Demon number 2 trying to rattle me with some standard threats and "you couldn't save her, it's all your fault" style taunts. I'd heard all that before, but it still pissed me off. We were going back and forth in a "don't you know how many demons I've kicked out of here, don't you know how many humans I've killed" one-upping contest when I interrupted him in the middle of a particularly gruesome story. "Where is she?" And as a fleeting instant of confusion passed number two's face, I knew we had something. See, it had to think a bit to figure out who I was talking about. And it did think, minus Yusuf. Then it noticed that it fucked up and it threw me, not dropped but threw me, at the floor. I tried to shield myself from the throw with intent but wasn't fast enough. I slammed left foot first into the floor, earning myself a lovely compound fracture for my troubles. The situation was turning grim, since now both Razum and Demon number 2 were determined to kill us, not just toy with us like before. It was now or never, but my leg felt like, well you know, a broken ball of agony, so it was a bit hard to focus. Plus, minus Yusuf, the first useful piece of information I'd gotten in years. I couldn't believe it, finally I had something to work with. Okay right, I couldn't let myself get too distracted. Razum and number 2 stood on opposite sides of us. HL had managed to get up and make his way to me. Serene wasn't showing me where she was, so I had to hope she was alright. HL was definitely panicking now, and I wasn't in the mood to deal with that, so I slapped him in the face. Rude, I know. Grab that and let's get to work. We're sending these things home now, I said, pointing to the Bible. Satisfied that HL was getting his shit together, I grabbed the couch and pulled myself up on my good leg. We stood back to back, HL facing Razum and me facing number 2. HL began reading the rites of exorcism and I bent all my will towards opening the gate and shoving number 2 back through it. I'd had plenty of practice with this by now, but I think staying focused that day was the hardest thing I've done so far. As I envisioned the white light dragging number 2 toward the portal, wailing filled the air. Number 2 ripped entire gouges out of the floor, fighting me every step of the way. At the edge of the portal, it just about broke free of my grip, but at that moment a large picture frame picked itself off the ground and smashed into number 2's face. Thanks, Serene. I turned to see how HL was managing, just as he finished reading the rites. There was a resounding whoosh and Razum burst into flames before collapsing to dust. Turns out HL was really out for a revenge. That wasn't just a banishment to Onnelith, he actually killed the thing. After that it was just a matter of hobbling down the street a bit so we didn't get busted for breaking and entering before calling an ambulance. I got to spend a few months in a cast, then a few more in one of those leg boot things. I thought it was a small price to pay for the information Serene and I managed to get. But, it's been what, 5 years? And look what good that info has done me. I wish I could just open a portal and shove myself through it, believe me I've tried. But for some reason it doesn't work. I thought maybe it was because entities native to Onnelith have a tie to their home dimension, and that connection was required to open the portal. If that's the case, I just need to wait till I found a demon and open the portal and follow it through. So I tried that too, but I couldn't pass through it. No matter what I try, I stay stuck firmly on this side of the gate. I was completely out of ideas, which is part of why I started posting all this on here. Then last night I got a tip. A user, I'll abbreviate CM, private messaged me asking what I thought of some strange happenings in their hometown. There was a string of disappearances in the woods next to CM's neighborhood. Ordinarily I'd think standard people getting lost, animal attacks, maybe a crazy guy killing people. But these disappearances happened while a witness was looking directly at the missing person. On 3 occasions so far, someone has been observed to just vanish from sight in these woods and none of these people have been seen again. I'm going to keep the location private, out of respect to CM, and we'll just call it the woods. I spent last night arranging travel to the woods, and managed to catch a red-eye flight out this morning. See, the reason I'm in such a hurry is that this might be some kind of naturally occurring dimensional distortion that I can use to actually pass through a portal to Onnelith successfully. But if I'm right, the distortion isn't likely to last very long, so I need to find it quickly. I began scouting the woods when I arrived early this afternoon, and haven't found the site of dimensional distortion yet. However, all disappearances happen pretty deep into the woods. So I think I will need to try venturing farther in tomorrow when it's daylight. What I did see today makes me hopeful that this might work. The further I go into the woods, the stranger the plants and animals become. It started with a clearing full of clovers, that upon closer inspection all had 4 leaves. I saw phosphorescent mushrooms growing from under a fallen log. There were caterpillars with wings apparently attempting to pollinate a Venus flytrap, and ending up eaten instead. Also, I'm pretty sure the Venus flytrap had teeth. As I moved even deeper into the woods, the air started to get a very distinctive foul smell that felt exactly like death. Sound familiar, anyone? The temperature also began to decline drastically, and I don't think that was entirely explained by the setting sun. I also noticed a pair of eyes, not red ones, but a bright gleam of something watching me from the trees. I decided not to press forward in the dark, even though part of me really wanted to. Hell, part of me wants to go back out there tonight. but instead I made my way back out of the woods and back to my hotel. I plan to try and get a good night's sleep tonight, since I didn't manage to sleep at all last night. Then early tomorrow morning I'm going to set out to find this distortion and try to pass through it. God, I'm excited. Hopefully I'll update in a few days with good news. If not, well, it's a bit stereotypical, but you can all guess what happened. Wish me luck, and a special thanks to CM. Hopefully 2019 will be the year I can get this over with.